Tim. So this item is something that's brought to council typically as the charter states. The city council actually confirms the appointment of the city engineer. After several months, we were able to find and hire a civil engineer from the area, and he's kind of jumped right in working on our projects. But Rob here, tell you a little bit about himself and answer any questions you might have.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, I appreciate the opportunity here. Looking forward to working with you guys for hopefully a long time. I was born in Hillsdale, grew up between Camden, Waldron, Sullivan, Illinois, and Pittsburgh. Graduated from Pittsburgh High School. Went to Michigan Tech. After I got done with college, I hired into a place in Saginaw that sent me out to Bad Axe, and working in Saginaw the last couple of years, and this opportunity to come back home, be closer to family, was too good to pass up, and I appreciate Mr. Mackey for responding the way he responded. It was great. But mostly, you guys had a long meeting, so I'll let you ask me any questions you want and let you get home.
Thank you. Are you back for the job, or were you already here?
I'm back for the job.
Wow, great. Thank you for coming. Any questions from council? I think everyone read your statement. Glad to have you. Thank you. Anything from council? Yeah, my only concern is that the appointment needs to be brought before, I assume he's on the payroll and working. Yes, so the appointment really needs to be brought before that begins. Otherwise, to say no would essentially be to fire the person rather than to not appoint them. No, I don't think does anyone have any objection to what they're reading here or anything? I don't think so, but yeah, those appointments need to be brought together first. I would have a very serious problem if the mayor, for example, appointed a police chief and said, yep, we hired him, he's on the payroll, now what do you think? So we gotta get those order of operations correct.
Well, with that said, then I make a motion that we approve the appointment of Rob Stuyvesant as the new city engineer.
Or, I don't know what that was. I heard Councilman Morrissey. Motion on the floor from Councilman Flynn to approve the appointment of Rob Stuyvesant for city engineer, seconded by Councilman Morrissey. Katie, could I have a roll call vote, please?
You may. Councilperson Stuchel.
Yes.
Wolfram.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
And Soha.
Yes.
Okay, approved.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Stuyvesant. We look forward to working with you. Got some big projects coming up, which we'll be talking about in a minute. Letter B, set public hearing, Hillsdale Renaissance Oprah certificate. Okay, this is for 16 South Howell. Mr. Fry, thank you.
Yeah, so the Hillsdale City Clerk's Office received an application for Obsolete Property Rehabilitation Act exemption certificate from Hillsdale Renaissance LLC. This is for their property at 16 South Howell Street, which they're working on a rehabilitation project there. The total cost of the project reported by the applicant is $947,000. The property does lie within an Oprah district that was created in 2013. When the city receives one of these applications, council is required by law to hold a public hearing on it within 60 days of receipt. So we are just simply recommending tonight that council set the public hearing for the very next meeting, at which time you can go over the application. We'll have the actual applicant here if there are any questions, and then you can make a decision on that. But it's just a set public hearing item tonight.
Great, thank you. What is the completion date? Is that on here?
The planned date of completion of rehabilitation, it is the 5th of October 2025. So for this project, they're saying at this point that basically they're done or mostly done with it. And that's fine, because you can file an Oprah. The only stipulation is it can't be 6 months after you commence with the project.
6 months after you commence.
Correct.
And when did they start?
It looks like looks like, what is it, April 1st, is what they have listed here. And that's when the application has to be received as well by the city. It has to be within that window.
Isn't that 6 months after they started?
When did we receive?
September 16th.
September 16 is when we received it. So as long as it's turned into the city clerk's office by that date.
so
That's
they
what
were-
the law said, correct.
They were cutting it close.
Yes.
I see. Okay, I was gonna make the suggestion earlier that we make the length of the original certificate, the same as the length of the completion date, but, for oversight purposes, but it looks like that is a moot point here. Do I have a motion, unless there's any further discussion?
I move support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Wolfram, seconded by Councilman Soha to set the public hearing for 7 p.m. on October 20th, 2025. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We will move on to the next item. Set public hearing for 70 and 72 North Howell Street.
Yep, so this is just like we did there, it's another set public hearing item. This is for an Oprah application from MT Meyer Properties LLC for 70 to 72 North Howell Street. That is Smith's Flowers. They're doing a rehab project there. The cost of the project reported by the applicant is $280,000. Again, it does fall within an Oprah district. And council is required to set a hearing, so we're just recommending that we do another hearing as well on the 20th.
Okay, so this one is a 5-year completion date for $280,000. What's the reason for that time frame?
It's pretty substantial. They basically have to gut everything from that building and redo it. And so, you're talking about redoing multiple floors. And, in talking with the applicant, because this is primarily a self-funded project, they have to do it kind of piece by piece as they get the funds to do it. It's not something where they can just afford out of pocket to do the complete rehab up front.
Okay.
So that allows them time to progress on, gutting the building, working on getting the commercial space activated, and then they can kind of move upstairs and work on the, other floors of the building.
And why 10 years total rather than 12? Is it the dollar amount?
It's the dollar amount, so per city policy, if it's under $500,000 as a project, it's just 10 years blanket.
Okay. I think this one is the type where I would prefer to make it a 5-year certificate, so that we don't have all the clawback problems at the end of the completion date. It would just be set, and then in 5 years, if everything is good, council can give them the extra 5. We talked about this before with Mr. Thompson, saying that that's one possible way to allow future councils to have more oversight with fewer strings attached.
Yes.
Yeah, if council wanted to change the policy, they could change the policy.
Well, when you adopt the resolution, we can put language in the resolution that says that you're approving it for a short time period with a possibility of extending if they meet certain conditions, and you write those conditions right in the resolution.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be my preference here, just so that other councils aren't burdened, and city staff with all the clawback and everything, if it does have to be revoked.
I would just simply advocate that if we're gonna do that, I think we ought to revisit the policy and put it in there, so we're not treating different applications differently. So rather than, enforce the 5 years just for this one, if you want city staff to, do it differently, I think it should be across the board.
Yeah, oh, definitely,
So-
for sure.
So, yeah, we can, and if that's something council wants to discuss, either, at a community development committee meeting or something, we can take a look at that.
Do we have a framework for years based on the cost of the project, the expansiveness of the project, the age of the building, how deteriorated it is?
The current policy, the only stipulation is just based on total cost of investment.
Okay.
You
Could we
write
get a little
into
more
it.
particular based
Yeah.
on years, quality?
You can put job numbers in there if you want. Different cities do it differently, so.
Less concerned about that, but things like age of the building, just, yeah, sort of benchmarks.
Agreed, I'd very much like to take a look at this.
Okay, thank you, yeah. Where would that go? Is that community development?
Yeah, it would be community development.
Okay.
That'd be the appropriate committee.
Okay, so this is October 20th, so we'd have to do it before then.
suggest that we, leave this one alone and just say, let's try to get something by the end of the year so that when 2026 gets here, starting January 1st, you know, from that day forward, then we have a, you know, look at it and we've made those corrections.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, I think the other thing to take into account too, so based on current law, after December of this year, there are no new
Right.
OPRA applications unless the legislature was to go back and, you know, put forward amended legislation. So
Yeah.
this is something that, at least at the moment, appears like it's gonna be phased out in future years, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they could definitely improve it. I'm not as concerned about this one because it's another local person who has a real stake here, so, but I don't wanna leave a future, none of us will be on council and, well, maybe a few of us will in 2030, I just don't wanna leave them with a mess, yes. Okay, do we have a motion? Oh, sorry, Councilman Soha.
The 10 years starts when we adopt the resolution, correct?
Well, it'll start, you specified in the resolution. Typically, for OPRAs, what the city does is we have it effective 1 year after the listed planned completion date by the applicant is when it starts running. So there's usually, no?
The certificate becomes effective, the year following the approval. And then it runs for the 10 years. You can write into the resolution that it can be, it's effective for up to 12 years after completion of the project, which would actually like stack additional years onto the front end while they're working on the project. I don't think this project is big enough that it would warrant that.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Motion to set a public hearing?
So moved.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Flynn, seconded by Councilman Soha to set a public hearing for 7 p.m. on October 20th, 2025 for 70 and 72 North Howell Streets, Ober. Any discussion? All set? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, we will move on to our land division for 350 Hillsdale Street.
So the owner of 350 Hillsdale Street has applied to divide the parcel. This is something that has to come before City Council for approval because it is a platted parcel. So the Michigan Land Division Act requires council approval for any land splits that fall into that category. What they want to do, so 350 Hillsdale Street is currently zoned B1. What they want to do is they want to split off the western portion of the lot to sell to the neighboring property owner. And the idea is that this would be a residential parcel that a home could be built on. In order to, or I guess as a planning commission reviewed this, one of the things about it is our zoning ordinance, because of the size of the parcel that they want to split off, you cannot have a parcel that size that is still zoned B1. So we would be creating a non-conforming parcel if we let them split it and then you had the two B1 parcels. So what planning commission did was say, you can go ahead and split the parcel, but only after you apply to rezone the western portion of that lot as residential. That way we don't get stranded, you know, with a non-conforming B1 parcel that can't actually be used to put any business on it. And the neighboring parcels are all zoned residential anyways, and if it's going to be used as a house, that's the intended purpose. So that's why this one is a little bit less cut and dry than simply approving the split. It's doing it with that conditional requirement that they apply to have that parcel that they're splitting off rezoned as residential first.
Okay, makes sense. Questions, comments? So what's there right now? Burgers Unlocked?
That was it was that, and then now it's the owner, she uses it for she has a catering business that she runs out of there. Yeah.
Yes, Councilman Flynn.
So this would be, as you mentioned, rezoned as residential, so it would not potentially be sold to the college for anything but I mean, anybody that's gonna buy it's gonna use it for residential, nothing but.
So anybody who buys it, if it's zoned residential, has to, comply with what the uses are permitted in residential or apply to have it rezoned after, if they wanted to change use. And that would have to go back to the planning commission. And, so there would be an additional layer of approval if somebody was to purchase it and want to do something different.
Thank you.
But yes, the council could buy it and use it as residential, right?
The I mean,
Or the council.
if it gets rezoned, yeah, if it gets rezoned residential, any property.
Right,
owner can
exactly.
use it for residential.
Okay. Councilman Bentley?
I thought you said that there was already a potential buyer, the neighbor.
There is.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the college just came up as like an
Yeah.
example, hypothetical.
The omnipresent council of college. Okay, do I have a motion?
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, supported by Councilman Flynn, to approve the parcel division, with the condition that it be rezoned. Any further discussion? Katie, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Councilperson Wolfram.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
yes.
Rounds.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Solha.
Yes.
And Stuchel.
Yes.
8-0 is approved.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to new business letter, what are we on, E? Proposed 2026 SAD street projects. Okay, so the Public Services Committee met. It seemed good that we waited, got some pretty solid information, I think, to justify this decision now, so go ahead, Jason, thank you.
Absolutely. So in that interim there, we got to look at the grant, small urban grant, the requirements and so forth. So just a little bit of recap. On the September 15th council meeting, council did approve to move forward with plan specification estimates for Lake and Willow, in addition to South Street. Sending a recommendation for 2027 small urban grant to public services to pick either Reading Ave or Oak Street. In that interim there, we did do some traffic counts. Reading Ave had roughly 700 cars a day. On average, Oak Street had 2,800, so 4 times the amount of traffic volume. Also, unfortunately, in that time frame, we found the city was not eligible for a small urban grant until the year 2030. The small urban grant is even funded for our region every other year. We do share that same grant with the Hillsdale County Road Commission, the city of Jonesville, Key Opportunities, and the city of Hillsdale. So traditionally, it's when our cycle comes up, we get that even year funding. So actually I called Region 2 and they have some turnover to get to that answer as well. So after finding that out, we did meet with finance, city manager, assistant city manager myself went through and kind of looked how can we still do the projects that we looked at. In there, we still, after looking at finance, we believe if we move Lake and Willow to 2028, that we would still be able to do Oak Street in 2026. So that we moved up into with Arch Ave, I'm sorry, I got it right here. Arch Ave, South Street, and then Oak Street from Willow to East Fayette. And the reason it is from Willow is because that does need a culvert there from Carlton to Willow. And just for funding sources, that's why we stopped at Fayette. And I'm going to put a call into the college, see if there's any thought to go any further to College Street curve there. But that's just a financial decision. So with that being said, I can go over really the street list that we had kind of changed. It's the same, it's just different. So again, 26 will be Arch Ave. 26 will be South Street from South Broad to Reading Ave. Oak Street will to East Fayette. And then we get into 27 and go on further down. But with that being said, with the change, I would ask this council, city staff asked to propose new SAE 2026-14 Oak Street, 0.525 miles from Oak Street to Willow Street. I'm sorry, Oak Street from Willow Street to Fayette Street for a 2026 project.
Jason, just one question about the chart here. Is that a typo on 2028 Lake Street? It says 0.024.
No, that is correct. So Lake Street already was 3/4 the way it was done.
when the BPU did the water and sewer upgrade through there. So it's just finishing that couple hundred feet to get to Carlton. And same thing on Willow Street, 500 feet of that was already done in the intersection from from Lake heading to the west as part of that same BPU project.
Okay, great. Councilman Sohan.
Just also to clarify, on the second line for this year, South Street says it's typed South Broad to South Street, and it should be South Broad to Reading Avenue.
That is
which the
correct.
5 points.
Thank you, sir.
Have you, has the governor signed the budget? I haven't heard anything if she has. Have you taken into consideration the new funding yet?
Yeah, so I sat with the MDOT Zoom meeting last week. They're asking for us not to really make any changes quite yet, because they feel that the one will be passed, but it shouldn't affect our grants. The TEDF grant was already, those calls were in last year and so forth, but yeah, just let's hang tight and see what we're gonna do in the next month or so. But the congressional, I'm so sorry, the Arch Ave is a congressional earmark, which is already appropriated, I believe, if that is correct.
The new funding from the state, though, did you hear anything about whether there will be an offset in specific grants because of this new revenue sharing?
No, I haven't heard nothing on it.
Okay.
Nope. If anything, on the Dollar Ride side, where there might be some issues coming down the road for the northern roads, for the transportation side.
Okay, hopefully that's offset by the new road funding that we're getting, hopefully getting. Councilman Flynn.
Jason, was there any thought given to taking South Street all the way down to the tennis courts behind the high school?
So there was, on the Pazer scale, that still is around a 6 and a 5, depending on the block. It's not into that category yet, and again, it was just a financial decision, not knowing how the curbs are gonna be and what underground we have to deal with on that street. We could always add it as a minimum 1.5 mil and fill when we're done. Same thing with going to College Street as a project add-on later. But yeah, it was all just financial because of the extent. Oak Street will need to extend, that curb is not gonna be saved.
And again, on South Street there to Reading Avenue, the 5-point intersection, is that going to be a cluster since it's 5 points, or is the understructure already there that you wouldn't have to put in all new sewer and all of that?
No, we met with Board of Public Utilities last week. There is no issues that we know of. They are reviewing the camera footage to double check, but history shows they've had any problems. The water mains have been done, the valves have been replaced. As far as going down to subgrade and coming back up, that's probably as far as that's gonna go.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you.
Anything else? Do we know if the earmarked or grant projects will affect the SAD amount?
So yes, I don't want to say all because I don't know the estimate all on yet until it comes back, because I did put an estimate on here of, we're getting $425,000 from the earmark, but that project is when Kristen put an estimate on that over a year ago, it was $550,000. So there will be some special assessment funds allocated to that project as well.
And then does our current policy allow for up to 50% of the total project cost, or the project cost for the city after grants have been taken into account?
So I believe it's 50% of the project cost, and then they are up to that $15,000 threshold.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, go ahead.
So, yes, the way Jason had spoke that when it's 50% of the project cost, and we don't subtract out the grants we receive out of that. So.
Okay, so it is the total cost. The interesting thing there is going to be, I believe, the total SAD, if I recall correctly, for Arch was more than the cost minus the grant. It was about $150,000, wasn't it?
I don't remember, sir.
Okay, so there will be some reduction there, possibly, if I'm recalling the numbers correctly, because the grant will. So there's going to be no city funding for that project.
It should be very minimal.
No general funding.
Correct.
Or millage funding. Okay.
which that goes into why we can bring Oak Street up, you know, in that next year to try to get that done.
Yeah, this is gonna run, again, special assessment districts, in my opinion, are discriminatory by nature, right? That's why they exist, they're special, they're not general. It's gonna again raise this question though of, this project gets a grant, therefore the total amount of the SAD is gonna be reduced for those people because the state selected this project. You know, no fault to the council or the city staff because of that, but it does sort of, again, create this situation where you get a lower amount because the state selected you. And I guess that's the point I've been trying to make over and over with special assessments. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We're not reducing the special assessment based on the grant. So there is no lower cost. It's actually what the policy states,
So we will collect that money.
Oh, yeah, that was not clear at the committee meeting.
Oh, okay, that is not what I
We're not reducing it and then
Okay.
reducing the special assessment amount. It is basically going,
That'll go to the city's coffers for other projects.
Yes, yeah.
yes.
Oh my, what's the legal status of that? You can charge above, okay. Well, we'll look into that later. Is there any discussion that isn't getting into the legal or policy minutia at this moment at 9 p.m.?
I make a motion that we accept the proposed 2026 special assessment districts for street projects.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Flynn, seconded by Councilman Morrissey. Any further discussion? Councilman Bentley?
Yes, and don't take this for more than it's worth, but I mentioned it at the committee meeting, and I will mention it here. I hear a lot of talk from both South Street and Oak Street, and I think it's very realistic that both will get 51%. And I'd like to ask the attorney to reiterate what I understood him to say back in March. It's essentially as easy as signatures on a sheet with some language at the top of the sheet. It's not arduous, there's no timetable, there's no procedures, it's just no thank you.
It's some sort of written objection made by the required number of folks.
So again, the only reason I bring that up is not as a threat, but just so that we're not surprised when that might happen, because I think that might happen in both cases. So.
Yeah, I would hate to see Mr. Syverson's first project here get shot down after he makes the schematics for it. Yes, Mr. Mackey?
Yeah, so if we get 51% objection to the project, then it's a higher requirement for the council to approve it, is what this
As Mr. Soha has said.
Yeah. So it requires 7.
Yeah, and there's, I think, 0 chance there's gonna be 7 votes, so.
But it is the risk we take in picking special assessments. You know, there could be an objection and it could compel the council to vote against it, you know, for those projects. It's just a risk that we take.
Yes, Councilman Flynn?
Did I not understand though that our last meeting when we were talking about South Street, that a number of residents on South Street petitioned the city to do the project?
No, that was Willow and Lake Street.
Willow and Lake, okay.
We had some interest from local residents.
Okay, I apologize, thank you.
No, you're fine. So if I may, just real quick too, so, this proposal here is just for estimates, specifications and plans to present to council on the first, meeting in January. That's what all this is, for today.
And that isn't necessarily lost. Like the Berry Street work isn't lost. It might need to be updated slightly in future years, but the engineer's work isn't in vain. Okay. All right, good. I would like Public Services to meet and see what we should do, both about the permitting issue for right-of-way, but also about what would be appropriate for the council to do or for city staff to do in terms of getting the people in the road informed early and on board. What type of language would be appropriate to provide for them? I really think we have to change the policy at this point to make it that we gotta give some advance warning so we're not just, sort of running blind. I know there's difficulties with that, but I wonder if we can look at the language and see if there's some advance notice we can give them and try to get the residents on board. Okay, we have a motion in a second. Yes?
Yeah, and if we can do that, sooner than later if we could, with these projects, we're gonna do them back in house with Rob, myself, Frank, and, another person from BPU, so we're gonna bring this all in house, so we'll need all the time we can get these ready by January.
Okay, great. I'm free Tuesday. That's probably too short notice. I'm free Friday. Yes.
I would like to congratulate and commend staff though. I mean, I agree with you that we should sooner rather than later, but, we now have a list for the next 5 years.
It's great.
It used to be that, oh, this is next year, and then everybody's like, so at least we've gotten it now to, okay, now the next 5 years, so we can look at it and we know going ahead that these are the planned streets.
Yep, and we should get this word out
Thank you.
to everyone. Thank you for doing this work. Appreciate it. Yes, Councilman Bentley.
Sorry, this isn't necessarily the time to do this, but Willow Street got pushed to 28, excuse me, because the culvert situation, and we think that we're gonna have a culvert grant. Did I understand that right?
No, I'm so sorry. So the reason I got pushed back is it was just financial, so we can get Oak Street the rest of the way. About 95% of that curb and gutter is not in salvageable shape, so Oak Street is gonna be a much larger project. So it was just financially trying to get that through, and, I am doing a traffic study right now in Lake and Willow. Oak Street has one of the highest traffic volumes that we have in the city.
Oh, I have no problem with doing Oak Street ASAP. My question is why 28 instead of 27 for Willow?
So 27 was just, again, just for funding. Industrials in between that, and then Reading Ave was the next on the list for the amount of traffic volume that we had through there. And if there was enough money in there, we could still slip that in there for a project. Arch Ave, by the time we get that done, quote unquote, the grant, Industrial Ave 2 and 27 is gonna be a TEDF grant, that's $375,000 in funding as well. So there's a good chance that we can still put that in one of those years.
Yeah, those grants, I don't wanna mess around with those. I guess the point is you chose Reading for 27 and Willow for 28 for no particular reason, because I almost would consider reversing that.
Yeah, it was just financial, so we can get, just because of the limits of how much it's gonna be more, the increase in cost. Absolutely.
Anything else from council? Could I have a roll call vote?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Soha.
Yes.
Stuchel.
Yes.
And Wolfram.
Yes.
6-0, it's approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for this document. It's great. Very glad to see Oak, Reading, and Manning in the 5-year time frame. Those are pretty much my top concerns. Okay, we will move on to Roman numeral 10, miscellaneous.
No.
Oh, we added F. That's right. Okay, thank you. And that is email of complaint on Hallam Street. Councilman
No.
Sorry.
MSCPA.
MSCPA. Thank you. Alternate appointment. Mr. Mackey.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So this appointment for the alternate of MSCPA. So currently I am the primary representative for the city for MSCPA. Jake was the alternate, but with Jake's resignation, we actually do not have anyone to fill that particular spot. I checked with the linemen, the foremen within the lineman ranks, and I had no takers that were interested in this aspect because it's more of a management level job. Sam has worked in the BPU. He actually started with the city in the BPU on the customer service side and was brought over here. So that being said, not that Sam won't do a good job, but I didn't have anyone else to go to. So Sam was the lucky short straw per se, but I think he'll do a fine job. And again, this will only be in the case of my absence, which I try to make those meetings. So
What are the requirements for the position?
there's no necessarily specific requirements for it. You will have to Clearwater, Marshall, and Clinton, and Hillsdale. And so, once a month, the first Tuesday of the month, we have a meeting. We talk about power purchases, we talk about what's going on in the industry, and things that, legislation that might affect, public power. And, that is the gist of it. I am currently the treasurer, but the last 3 years I had been the chairman of the board. So I want to serve questions.
And so you don't have to be a BPU employee, you just have to be an employee of the city?
Yes.
Okay, a city employee, and we have one representative for our city?
One representative and one alternate, so
Okay.
in the case of my absence, or then we would be able to move forward with the second.
And then the new electric director, I assume, will take this position
Yes.
once
the
he or she's hired?
Supervisor, yes.
That's, okay, electric superintendent. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, Councilman Bruns?
it just said primary voting member, so I wasn't sure who that was, but.
Yes. So I am the primary, and he would be the alternate in my absence.
Okay.
And then I would assume once the electric superintendent is found and hired, that they would move into that role.
Okay, very good, Councilman Bentley?
And just to be clear, there's no pay associated with this is an extra duty for him.
That's correct.
All set, any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Move to appoint Sam Fry alternate in the CPA rep.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Flynn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. That concludes, I believe, new business. Am I all set this time? Roman numeral 10, miscellaneous reports, first proclamation. You want me to read it? I will say, therefore, I, Joshua Palladino, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Hillsdale, do recognize the week of October 5th through October 11th, 2025 as Public Power Week, a week-long celebration of Hillsdale Board of Public Utilities' year-round service to the City of Hillsdale. And then we have a proclamation for Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. I will read this. Whereas in 1988, U.S. President Ronald Reagan declared October as a month to recognize the unique grief of bereaved parents in an effort to demonstrate support to the many families who have suffered such a tragic loss. Whereas pregnancy and infant loss is such a common occurrence, one that is usually not recognized and rarely acknowledged. Whereas 1 in 4 women will lose a baby during pregnancy, delivery, or infancy. Whereas the devastating tragedy often occurs suddenly, without warning, as a result of miscarriage, stillbirth, preterm birth, sudden infant death syndrome, accident, or other causes or complications. And whereas increased awareness of the causes and impacts surrounding pregnancy and infant loss may lead to greater understanding, support, and resources in communities across the United States. And whereas in 2002, the 15th day of October, Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day campaign began and is recognized in parts of the United States and in many other jurisdictions around the world as a day of remembrance and awareness of pregnancy and infant loss, where many participate in the International Wave of Light by lighting a candle at 7 p.m. local time to honor all babies gone too soon. And whereas on October 12, 2025, the Hillsdale Hospital will hold their 18th annual Remembrance Walk at Owen Memorial Park, Bobby's Lake at 1 p.m. for parents and families to remember the lives gone too soon. And whereas we recognize and acknowledge the unique grief of bereaved parents of pregnancy and infant loss, and whereas we demonstrate our support for the many families affected by such loss, now I therefore, Joshua Palladino, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Hillsdale, Michigan, do hereby proclaim October 15th, 2025 as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day in the City of Hillsdale, and encourage parents, caregivers, and all residents to become educated in opportunities to prevent pregnancy and infant loss and support bereaved families when prevention is not possible. So October 15th at 7 p.m., light a candle. October 12th, 2025 at 1 p.m. at Owen Memorial Park at Bobby's Lake is the 18th annual Remembrance Walk. Hope to see you all there. That is this Sunday, is that right? Very good. We will move on to appointments. Letter B, we have one for the Local Advisory Committee for the Dial Ride, program, Lori Rogers, and then we'll do the appointment first. So Lori Rogers for Dial Ride. Do I have a motion? She fills the category of a user of Dial Ride, and that will still leave us with one open position for a user or a senior citizen, correct? Still is that open one?
Senior citizen.
It has to be a senior citizen, which is 65? 60?
60.
Okay, if you are 60 or older and you want to advise Dial Ride, please send in your application, we appreciate it. Okay, Lori Rogers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Bruns. Any discussion? Yes, Councilman.
I don't want to be thought of as a senior citizen.
80, 85? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We will move on to reappointments to the Economic Development Corporation. Nolan Sullivan, this is his second term, and he was recommended by the EDC. Any questions? I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve Nolan Sullivan, second.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Stuchel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We will move on to general public comment. The podium is open for 3 minutes. You may speak on whatever your heart so desires. Thank you.